Hello everyone. Today we are going to look at Bloodhound. So as many of you might know, and some of you might not know if you have not recently used Bloodhound, the classic Bloodhound is not there anymore, and there is a Bloodhound Community Edition that can be used freely. So we are going to have a look at how to install it in Kali and how to use it. Now in the classic Bloodhound, you had to just start and it would actually start a GUI where you can upload the data and start looking at the data. But in Bloodhound CE, there is no GUI. You have a web page where everything is managed. The web page looks very similar to how it used to look in the classic Bloodhound, but the installation and everything is a little bit different. You can still go ahead and use Bloodhound CE with Docker Compose if you are doing it from the GitHub repos, but Kali repos already has Bloodhound CE, so you can use it from Kali repos. So we will quickly go ahead and see how to install it. This is pretty straightforward, so I am going to not execute the commands in front of you, but the commands are pretty straightforward. First, you just need to do a apt update and then do a apt install Bloodhound. This will install Bloodhound for you, and then you can just do sudo Bloodhound setup. This will start Postgres, then it will create some databases in Postgres for you, and then it will finally install Neo4j and start Neo4j for you. Once Neo4j starts, you will have to log in as Neo4j and then change the password. The password that you have set newly, you will have to copy that password and then go to this file etc bhapi.json and change the Neo4j secret from Neo4j to the new password that you have set. Once you have done that, you are ready, and then you can start Bloodhound. Again, when you start Bloodhound for the first time, you can log into GUI with admin, but as soon as you log in, you will have to change the password and it has to be a strong password. So let's see how it looks like. I have already installed Bloodhound. So we will just start the Bloodhound instance and see what happens. And by the way, if you are looking for this page, you can search for just Kali Bloodhound. And this is the first page that should come up, which is Bloodhound from Kali Linux Tools, which has the details of how you can install Bloodhound, how you can start it, and how you can use it. Okay, so we can see that it is starting Neo4j now. As I said, I have already configured Neo4j, so it has a new password which is being used, and it will now go ahead and start the Bloodhound instance. And it automatically opens Bloodhound in your browser. I already have the password set, so I don't have to give my password, but I can log in Bloodhound. Okay, so this is how Bloodhound looks like once it is completely loaded. And you can see that there are some minor differences from the classic Bloodhound. Now you have a sidebar here, and if you want to upload the data, there are two options now. You can go to API Explorer and see the API to upload the data, or you can directly upload it from the administration panel. We are going to use administration. Once it loads, okay. We are going to use administration. Since I have some data here, I'll just going to remove everything which is in the graph and delete this environment data. This is going to clean my environment. So whatever we are ingesting, you can see that nothing is there right now. So when we import the data, we can actually get a clean slate. Okay, now we can go to administration. Okay, so for collecting the data, I have already created a server, Windows Server 2022, installed AD on it, and used my script HackLab AD, which you can find in GitHub. And I use this to create a vulnerable AD, which has a lot of security vulnerabilities. But basically, I wanted to create multiple users and such so that we can see the data in Bloodhound. Okay, so we have already done that. I have already configured it to be a AD, and now we can run the Bloodhound collector. Now there are multiple collectors that we can use, and the best to use is Bloodhound CE Python. This you can again install with apt install Bloodhound CE Python, and then we need to give the username, the password, the DC, the name server, and then the collection method we are going to give is all. The domain is lab.local. We are going to use Kerberos authentication by giving -k, and we are going to give --zip so that we can get a single zip file. If you don't give this --zip, you will get individual JSON files which you can upload here. And we can see that we have the Bloodhound zip file here. We can upload this here. We can click here. We can go to course BHCE and upload this data. The upload is done. It should take a few seconds to upload this data, and then it will start processing this, analyzing this, and once the data is analyzed, then we will be able to see the data in the explore section. So while we are waiting for the data to be ingested, as I mentioned, you can go to database management and delete whatever you don't like. So if you have ingested earlier data, you can just click on all graph data and delete, and it will delete all the data that you had ingested earlier. Similarly, if you want to create other users, you can go to manage users and create a new user. Or if you want to have a SSO configuration, single sign-on configuration, then you can actually use OIDC or SAML to have a single sign-on as well. You can also change some Bloodhound configuration from here, or if you can even request for the early access features. We will have to, okay. So now the data is ingested and we should be able to go back to explore, and we can see that the data should be there. So if I just type something, then I can see that there are all the users and groups that I have listed. And let's say that I want to look at this, then you can see that this is a high value target. And if I click on this object, then I can see all the object information in the right side pane. And mostly what you are interested in seeing is at the bottom, which is member of which groups, and then the outbound controls. As you can see, this has a lot of outbound controls in this. Thus, this is a high value target. And then also the inbound controls. Now, we don't want the inbound controls. Let's say that I own this, then I can just right click on this and this, then set it as starting node or ending node, and we can even say add to owned, and these things are basically the same as it used to be in the classic Bloodhound, just that now it is in the browser rather than in the Bloodhound GUI that used to be there earlier. So just for fun, let's mark this as owned, and then we can go to pathfinding. and we can say, let's say, domain admins, and if we click here, then we can see that it is a member of domain admin, so there is nothing required. And if I click on member of, again, similar to classic Bloodhound, in the right hand panel it will show what is the relationship information, some general information about it, how to abuse it. No abuse is necessary because we are directly a member of it, and no obstacle or considerations apply because we are already a member of it. Similarly, we can go to Cypher, and okay, we can basically and click on this folder icon here. Now you will see Active Directory, Azure, and custom searches. This is where you can create your own custom searches. If you save a query, it will go there. But Active Directory, again, you will find the similar queries that we used to have earlier. And if I just minimize this, then I have all domain admins, which is basically an administrator and an admin backup, which are part of domain admins. Or we can map the domain trusts. I don't have multiple domains, so there is no domain trust. And then tier 0 and high value objects are the high value objects which you are going to run after to get the domain control, right? So domain controller, if you want to access or if you want to become domain admin, then those are the ones that you want to run after. Similarly, you can look at everything else, how the OU structure is, principals with DC sync. So there are few users who have DC sync rights. There are some groups. There is one computer which has DC sync rights. Then the computers where domain users are local administrators, or where domain users can read labs password. So all the regular cipher queries you can find here. And yeah, that's about it. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is let's actually go to um, something, all Kerberos table users. So as soon as I click there, you can see that instead of the graph, it is actually showing me a table. This makes a lot of sense because this is a list of Kerberos table users, right? So in graph, there is no relation between them. So there's no point of having it in the graph. And here I can easily download this, or I can manage the columns and change the columns that I want. For example, I want domain FQDN or last logon or password not required, whatever other things I can select, and then I can download this. I can also extend the size of this. And if I close that table view, then I will get the regular view that we are used to seeing. And we can change this here to sequential, or we can change it to standard, or we can change it to table view. This is the table view that we were seeing earlier as well. We can also hide the labels if we want to, or we can search in the current results. We can export the data as JSON. So these are some of the new features that could be very useful. And this is for resetting the graph. So if I have moved something and then I want to reset the graph, I can reset the graph. And one more thing I specifically wanted to talk about is the API. Now there is a very good API that you can use, and this API allows you to do a lot of things. For example, if you wanted to create specifically, if you wanted to upload some data, you could do that. If you wanted to upload a new attack vector, you can do that. I'm not going into those, but you can actually do all those things with custom API to Bloodhound. And as you can see, there are a lot of APIs that you can use now. And it also shows you whether it is for Bloodhound or Azure API or what is it for, right? So you can also try it here if you want to. So feel free to play around with this. Also, for those who like dark mode, there is a support for dark mode. If you don't like dark mode, you can change it to light mode from here and enjoy. So thank you.